Good evening, everyone, and welcome yet to another episode of SDGC. It is Thursday, April 4th, 2021, and it's good to be here with everybody again. This is like my healing for the week. Like this I have come to rely on this podcast and my family of friends on this podcast a great deal more than I had ever anticipated I would. And I'm so happy to be here with everybody, with all of you and everybody here in chat. We've already got a crowd in chat. Good evening, everyone. And we got second appearance for Cam on the podcast. This is Cam's Metal Gear Solid 2 for this podcast.
I would say Kingdom Hearts 2.
More Kingdom Hearts 2? Like,
yeah,
are you going to talk about shit? Nobody's going to be able to follow it. It's just going to confuse everybody and
reference like old tunes that no one's watched in like 80 years.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Kingdom Hearts. Like leading up to a certain much later in the series, again, you just play the games. I promise you'll understand like 90 to 95% of the story.
I agree with you.
So like it's just like one of those things that like back in like Kingdom Hearts 2 era, people just started making jokes that Kingdom Hearts was just like hard to follow just because it was Square Enix and Disney things, and then people just took it as like, oh, this is fact. And it's like, no, it wasn't fact back then. There were 3 games, the stories were completely easy to understand, and then like once we got to like Dream Drop, things got a little crazy. But still, in general, I think overall Kingdom Hearts isn't that hard of a series to understand.
It's not. It's like it's a meme at this point, right?
Yeah,
like I don't understand Kingdom Hearts.
Take it seriously, and I'm like, no, it's really not that hard to understand.
Can we agree though that Christopher Lloyd is better suited to Xehanort than like I love Rutger Hauer, like, you know, rest in peace, but I feel like Christopher Lloyd is a better fit for that character.
I think so, but it's also like, how can you try and even copy Leonard Nimoy? He's just such a unique voice that like no one was going to be able to like come even close to be like, oh, that's actually
hold up. I didn't know any of those people were
You
involved.
didn't know
this?
Dude,
Kingdom Hearts casting is stacked.
Yeah.
I knew about a lot of them, but not those ones.
Well, the chick
David Boreanaz is Squall.
And
that was the funniest casting in the fucking
world. No, dude, Mina Suvari was Aerith.
I remember that.
Mina Suvari from American Pie was Aerith.
Yeah, Lance Bass I knew was Sephiroth.
Yeah, and Lance Bass, I think, is really like proud that he is the voice, like that he was the voice of Sephiroth. Like if you go on his Twitter right now, in his bio, he said it has Sephiroth. Like he actually
he played.
That's amazing.
He had like 3 lines when Sephiroth was attacking.
I know, but he actually really cares about being the first like Sephiroth.
I mean, he's
Sephiroth.
He's the OG Sephiroth, man. He is the original. Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out to Brittany in chat. Brittany's having a rough night, so I want to ask everybody to throw some Brit sips in chat for Brittany. Everybody Brit sip for Brit. Brit sip for Brit. We love you, Brittany. Hope you're having a better night. We're gonna try to make you laugh. No, but Cam, this is great, dude. And I want to point out the Knuckles plush in the background reminds me that did you see did anybody here see the picture of Knuckles and Tails in Sonic 2? Yeah. I love the props of them all. Wow, look at all those Brit sips. Everybody loves Brit. I love the props of all of them rolled up. It's just these 3 it's a blue ball, a yellow ball, and a red ball. And I'm like, like that, dude. This movie is going to be either terrible or it's going to be amazing. Like
I like the first one.
I turned the first one off halfway through. I couldn't do it anymore.
Wow. Man, John. You're no fun, man.
I couldn't, man. Like
no, you have no sense of like childlike wonder left in your soul if you turned it off. You have no heart if you turned it off halfway through. That was such a wonderful experience of a movie. It's not great, but it's such a nice time.
It's fun.
What do you mean I have no childlike? I have look at what's behind me. You want to say I don't have any childlike wonder? Like look at all the Final Fantasy nerdy shit behind me.
Man, I remember going to see that movie in theaters when it came. That was the last movie I saw in theaters before the pandemic hit.
Man.
And the one thing I remember was when the Sega logo came up in that Marvel style, someone next to me yelled, "Yo, Kazuma Kiryu's in the fucking Sega logo." I'm like, oh man. I'm home. I am home.
Here's the thing. There's only 3 types of Sonic people. People who unironically like Sonic, like me. There's
I
people
like
who
Sonic.
ironically like Sonic, and then there's people that just fucking hate Sonic.
I
There's
like
no
Sonic.
three.
I like the games. I love the games. Like I will take the fact that Sonic Colors is one of the best Sonic games to my fucking grave. Like,
Yeah, I never played any of the Wii Sonic games.
they're great.
My
I've only played
that's
Lost
my
Rings.
omission, which apparently Lost Rings is like by far the worst of the 3 on the Wii. So
Hands down, one of the
Don't
worst
play
games
that
ever
game.
played.
Yeah,
so I got to.
Sonic Colors is so
Sonic.
you're gonna get your chance to play Sonic Colors because that's apparently like the rumor is that's being remastered for Switch.
Yeah, and
so.
I actually bought the Wii version because I got a Wii U again for the Virtual Console, so I bought all the Sonic games.
You know, if Nintendo would just bring that shit to Switch, you wouldn't have to do any of that.
Nope.
You know, that would be really nice. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. And as always, we are going to start it off with what we've been playing. And if you guys don't mind, mine's going to be fast. I'd like to go first. Because I want to talk about the Super NT. I was one of the lucky few, who was able to grab one when they went back on sale. Like, I want to say Cam, like 2 weeks ago.
Something like that.
They finally restocked them, and the word is they will not be restocked again. That's what I've heard from a couple of people. So I mean, for all we know, this may be it, right? Like, this may be it for the Super NT.
Explain to people that might not know what the Super NT is, what it is.
Oh, I'm going to. So I just want to throw out real quick that like the reason I say this might be the last one is because Analog is known for very limited reissues of their consoles and then kind of just 86ing them forever, saying this is the last run. Like the NT Noir, for example, just saw its last run. That's never coming back. The clear see-through shell version of the Super NT is done now. That's donezo. It's never coming back. The rumor is that this was the last run of Super NT. So we'll see. I hope not. But the Super NT is essentially, it's not an emulation-based system. It's FGPA, and it runs everything from carts, like actual carts. There's no emulation here. And it runs everything from carts in 1080p at 60 frames a second on a flat screen television. Now, if you've ever tried to hook up a Super Nintendo, or any older console, like a PlayStation 2 or a GameCube or a Super Nintendo, to an HD flat panel television, like, it looks like ass. Like you can do it. It's possible to do it, but it looks like fucking shit. CJ's nodding like he knows what I'm talking about.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I have the SNES Mini.
Yeah, like, I mean, they
That's
look like shit. The Super NT is the Super NT does not have any analog output whatsoever. It's all HDMI, and it's running everything from that cart at 1080p, 60 frames a second, and it's extremely, like, the image itself is extremely customizable. You can add you can like pare it down to 720p and add scan lines. I mean, there's literally tons of options you can use. But I've been doing it at 1619 at 1080p at 60 frames a second. And of course, the first game I played was Final Fantasy VI because, y'all know me. And I literally, it is the cleanest I have ever seen this game. And the opening scene where Biggs and Wedge and Terra are walking to Narush through the snowfield in their Magitech armor, I teared up a little bit because that is how I always imagine that. And I have never seen it like this. I have never seen any Super Nintendo game look this good. And I said on Twitter, and I'll say it here, for years, the meme about me is John wants Final Fantasy VI on modern consoles, especially Switch. I don't care if it ever comes to Switch anymore. This is the way to play it. This is the way to play any Super Nintendo game. If you can somehow, I fucking hope this was not the last run of the Super NT, because I'm telling you right now, like, this is the way to play Super Nintendo games. We talk a lot, especially me, about games conservation, right? Like as things go digital, more and more of these games are going to get lost to time, right? Like, look at what almost happened with Sony. And, they almost shut down the PS3 and Vita stores. This is how these games are going to live on. And I hope that people build on what Analog is doing. Like, I would love to see an analog console for, like, the N64 or the PlayStation or the PlayStation 2 or, the Saturn. Like, it's so important. I can't wait to show my kid when he gets here tomorrow. Because it is literally all I want to play right now. Are games on my Super NT. It's that fucking beautiful. Like, it's unbelievable how good it looks. And Brad in chat knows. I mean, he's had one since launch day, since it launched, and he loves it. Like, it's you really can't appreciate it until you actually see it in person. Like, it is that fucking crisp. It is. Oh god, it's so fucking good. I love it. I'm so fucking over the moon. Like, I'm so happy right now that I'm getting to play like seeing Final Fantasy VI, my favorite game of all time. I've played it annually ever since 1995. Like, to see it in 1080p is just like I cannot begin to describe to you just how fucking incredible a feeling it was. It is all I've been playing. I'm not going to play anything else until I'm done with my Final Fantasy VI playthrough. Which, the way I play it, I'll be done by Monday. but yeah, oh, it's so fucking good. And that is literally. So Brad made a really good point in chat. He said the only way I can describe Super NT is that games look like Nintendo Power magazine quality. That is the perfect. Agreed, Justin. That is the perfect description. That is exactly how they look.
Because back in those days, like, all the magazine assets were way higher resolution than the actual systems were, just because the way print magazines work, you couldn't actually put like a native resolution screen on there because it would look horrible.
Yep.
So yeah, they all had to be rendered at a much higher resolution.
And I hope, like, I hope we see this done for other consoles as well, because the results are. And now, like, I kept my Analog Pocket pre-order, and now I am that much more excited for it, because if these Super Nintendo games look that fucking good on the Super NT, and the Analog Pocket is, according to their website, has 10 times the resolution of a Game Boy Advance, motherfucker, like, holy shit, I can't fucking wait. Like, that's, my god.
Yeah, I got one pre-order, the Analog Pocket pre-ordered as well. I'm super excited.
Did you get the white one or the black one?
I got the white one.
Okay. See, I got the black one. I'm afraid of, like, smudges and dirt, right? Like, although the white one looks like a really high-end Apple product, which is what I like about it. Because, I mean, say what you want about Apple, but their shit looks clean as hell.
Yeah, and ever since I got the pre-order, I've been trying to go back to, like, I've been going to, like, looking at retro shops and stuff like that, trying to get up all the must-have GBA games for when that, like, aren't on, like, Wii U Virtual Console or anything like that, for when the Analog Pocket comes out, like, Final Fantasy, like, 1 through 6, more or less, and all that stuff. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I've got a huge tin of Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games right here on my desk, ready to roll. It's gonna be so fucking good. It's gonna be a pretty incredible year for games, period. But Justin, what are you playing right now?
So I've actually been replaying a bunch of stuff. Hasn't been too much new that I've been working on. I've been occasionally playing Monster Hunter Rise when I get some downtime at work on my Switch, but
that's my man. That's my man right there.
I haven't been like as like when World came out, I went nuts on World when it came out. But like Rise has been like a more laid back, chill kind of thing that I pop in and out of, which has been really fun, and I've been enjoying that. But I've been replaying a bunch of games, because a bunch of games that I really love have gotten updates to run at 60 FPS on PS5, and I haven't played them like that before. So I replayed the 2016 Ratchet and Clank, which, with the update, you could tell me it was a PS5 game, and I would believe you.
I mean,
that
dude,
game
so I saw
incredible.
it running on the PS5. Like, dude, you could tell me that was a Pixar film, and I would believe you.
I had a blast with that replay. That game's awesome. It got me super, super excited for Rift Apart coming in just like a month and a half or so now.
Is it that close already? Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like June 11th.
Oh my god, this year is fucking flying by.
I know.
Oh my god, Jesus! Like, it feels like we've been through. Oh my god, it's already that fucking time. Jesus! I just realized E3 is like a fucking month and a half away. Fuck, man.
So I had a lot of fun with that. I'm working on Jedi Fallen Order right now, which that game still has some like stuttery issues that it didn't have before, but overall it runs a lot better.
I bounced off of that game.
I see. I'm really having a lot of fun with it this time, but like performance on the last gen consoles was not good.
That's
at
one of the
all.
reasons I
and
bounced off
it really held the game back. So I'm enjoying playing that a lot. But I also did a full replay of Crisis Remastered, which is actually really neat because they did a few things with that remaster that I don't think anybody was expecting. One, they made it so you can play at 60 FPS on the new consoles, which is great. Which, if you're familiar with Crisis, even doing that on a high-end PC with the original release is not even still doable.
Yeah, I saw you talking
because of
about
how
this
it
on
was
Twitter,
coded.
actually, if I remember correctly.
But they also added an option for like classic suit control. And the way the suit powers in that game work, it like the remaster is based off of the 360 and PS3 port, which streamlined they streamlined like how the powers worked. So it was like armor mode was on your left like L1, and cloak was on R1, and then speed was just automatically triggered when you sprinted, and strength was automatically triggered when you like held down like the melee button. So they actually changed it so now you can hold down a button and it brings up a menu, and then you can just flick the stick in one direction, so you can actually activate speed and strength mode and kind of have the more like fine-grained control over the suit powers, like the original PC release. And they also added back in Ascension, which is a level that was cut for performance reasons when it was ported to 360 and PS3. And they added that back in. It was originally not there at launch, so I got to play through the whole game again. Much better experience than when I originally played it on my terrible computer in back in 2007. So that was a cool game to revisit. That Ascension level should have stayed gone because it is horrible to play, and people were very upset it got cut. But holy crap, is the game better without it? I still think 2 is my favorite in the Crisis series, but I really like what the original was trying to do. There's still stuff in that game that even the other Crisis games haven't attempted, and a lot of games haven't attempted with being able to like approach objectives from so many different angles and with so many different abilities and stuff like that. It was like when that game lets you go wild with the abilities and just lets you go free in a space, there is nothing else like Crisis. So that was really cool to revisit.
So like I've only played Crisis once. I played Crisis 3 once, like years and years ago.
3 is my least favorite.
I played it for like 30 minutes. I played it for like 30 minutes. I was like, I'm bored, and I turned it off. But that's also not. What's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, CJ, please.
I want to talk about it. So that remaster you're playing, I reviewed it on Switch when it came out because that was like the big thing. I remember when was it back in last August?
Yeah, last August. It was for like yeah.
Oh, and I remember one of the points I remember playing it's like, why the fuck did they bring Crisis to the least powerful hardware first before dropping it on PS4 or Xbox One? And I remember thinking it was cool because I sort of understood, okay, like this is where most of my favorite open-ended shooters kind of got their start, right?
Yeah.
Crytek essentially invented, like they created Far Cry, so all the stuff you see in Far Cry now, it was back in Crisis, back in Far Cry, the original Far Cry.
Yeah, and Crisis predates Far Cry 2. Like it came out the year before Far Cry 2.
Holy shit, does it really?
Yeah. Dude, comparing Crisis to any other games that came out around that time is ridiculous.
It came out the same year as Halo 3 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Debatably, like what, 2 of the most influential console shooters ever. And then Crisis came in, this big, beefy, PC-only game that's like, man, fuck you, you're a computer if you can't run this shit. But I remember playing it on. I played it on Switch Lite. I thought it was solid, but man, the fucking triggers do not work in its favor. If you own a Switch Lite, those triggers are horrendous.
Yeah,
but I remember like thinking it's like this is arguably the best and most impressive looking game I played on Switch, and that's about it. I did not like the rest of it either.
You know,
I did not.
CJ, as long as you're going, man, what have you been playing?
I've been playing. Okay, so I haven't been playing many video games outside of review, but I'm going to talk about two today. First up, I never like admitting I'm wrong. I'm not going to do that now because I'm not wrong about something. One of the two of the times you guys have had me on before, I was a member of the show. We talked about the controversies of a little indie game called Cyberpunk 2077. I also preach a lot about how important supporting local libraries are, so I went ahead and picked up a copy at my library.
Oh, look at you!
Look at that! I didn't buy this game because fuck CD Projekt Red. Everything I complained about, the racism, the transphobia, it's all still in there. I'm not gonna fucking deny that. Already a few minutes we're hit with the pendejos and the chicas and all this like random Spanish words inserted into sentences that don't need to be inserted. My favorite thing that I love it when white people write shit like that.
It's like, oh, these are Latino gangsters. We need to put the word puta in there like a billion times.
Oh my god, it's horrible. And I'm thinking, yeah, like, man, I live in a bilingual household. No one talks like that. There's a sick ass reggaeton song that plays in an opening cutscene though, and I love it. But anyway, Cyberpunk 2077. I put in about 4 to 5 hours so far. I decided, all right, it's probably not going to like run well, so I took all the precautions. I installed it directly into my PlayStation 5, not on a hard drive, just to like avoid any like issues like loading in anything.
I was gonna ask if you like didn't patch it and just played the 1.0 disc version.
I should have, right? Like seeing like dicks flopping around and
I'm half tempted to pick up a disc version just so at some point I could play the 1.0 version.
Go ahead, still the only way you can play it, right? The disc version is still the only way you can play on PlayStation, right?
It is not available on the PlayStation Network still.
So,
after how many 4 or 5 months?
This game is such a shit show.
It is. It's still a shit show, but in all the other ways, like in all the moral ways, because it's still a fucking racist pile of trash. My God. But putting that aside, I mean, again, I'm clearly the best representative on how or what should oppress me. It is a decent first-person RPG. It looks fine. Like, I think they fixed up a lot of things clearly. Like, it looks on par with like PS4 games, right? Not quite as detailed, not quite as like ample, right? The thing is, this is the same console that ran Red Dead 2 and The Witcher 3. It shouldn't have had a problem running Cyberpunk 2077. So seeing the streets like empty, it's like, okay, closed clip. There's some slight little glitches here and there. I'm playing it with HDR on, and I haven't had any like frame rate dips or anything, which I'm surprised by, especially in like like a lot of combat scenarios. The things I do like, it's gorgeous. You guys remember Blade Runner when Deckard walks out to get like noodles?
Oh God, I remember every frame of that movie, dude.
They essentially made a video game about that one scene, and I love it. It's gorgeous. It looks beautiful on a 4K TV. The music is great because they got all these artists to collaborate. The in-game radio stations are. It's really. I don't know. I can't describe it. It's like
there's a lot of really good music bands.
Oh my God! Run the Jewels, Grimes. Didn't
Refused record a bunch of new tracks?
Health. Oh my God! And the actual combat, which was what I was worried about the most, because like I know it's an RPG and not a first-person shooter. I don't like a lot of RPGs. I like shooters, but it plays surprisingly well. I don't know. It's weird because like I fully expecting this thing to be a mess, and it is in some ways, but I think I'm gonna stick with it. It's a solid game. A lot of the writing is really solid, depending on how how like the dialogue choices you kind of pick. I don't know. It's such a weird thing, going back and remembering all the comments I made about this game. Like I said, I don't like admitting that I'm wrong because I'm not, but I'm gonna stick with it. Also, it came with these stickers, and I'm gonna take them. And this is probably like an admittance to a crime because it's government property, but I don't care. I got it from a library. Anyway, and the other game I'm playing that I got for review, and I've been dying to talk about on the show, but I haven't had a chance because either I've been on or we haven't had time, is probably my game of the year so far, and that's EA and Hazelight's It Takes Two. For those who don't know, I don't know if
I want to play this
I've heard a
so
lot
bad.
about
I
this.
want to play it so bad.
I submitted my first draft of my review last night. I've never been that excited to write something, and it is this co-op platformer from Hazelight, Jose Ferris, if I hope I pronounce it right, his studio, and it's this co-op platformer. It's only in co-op. You can only play it in co-op. It's always presented in the split screen view, no matter how you do it, whether it's online or in person. And you play as this couple who is like going through a divorce, and they find themselves turn into these toys, and they have to like work their way, not only turn back but to try to save their marriage. I love platformers. I really do. I'd like it's probably my favorite genre, regard 2D, 3D. Admittedly, a lot of mascot platformers like kind of fail when it comes to story, right? We'll all play a Mario game, but there's nothing of note in its narrative.
How dare you?
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend those dedicated to the Mario lore.
Listen, this is a Mario lore podcast now. We're gonna get you up to speed, CJ.
I fucking love Mario, all right? So this one, what it does is the gameplay really intertwines with the story in a way where most games don't, right? Like every action that you perform fits into a larger narrative. And I love it. The writing is great. The actual moment-to-moment gameplay is great. I played it all with Christine, because I got sent 2 codes over since it's co-op only. And her in the 5 years we've been together, her and I have never played a game together because we have like varying different interests. In the types of games we play, like she'll never fucking play a fighting game, or she'll never play she'll never play Tony Hawk with me. Her and I, we played through this entire thing, and it became like a ritual every night to get through like at least an hour or 2 of this, and it that to me like means more than anything else I'll play this year. Maybe there'll be a better game this year, but the fact that I was able to play this and share this with someone I love, undoubtedly, like it turns it up to like a 10 out of 10.
Dude, that's awesome. I should stream this with Vicky.
I love Hazelight's games. I love Ferris's games. Like, no one takes on co-op design in the way that they do. And it's all really unique and really fresh. But I haven't played It Takes Two yet.
I recommend it. All these big budget AAA games, do these things where it's like, stop over here and look at this vista. Yeah, it's nice. It Takes Two does it. It's genuinely like unlike anything I've ever seen. And it's still like fresh in my head. Like I can name like 15 different elements they introduced to me, and I still wouldn't scratch the surface of what this game has to offer. Johnny, you should stream with Vicky. I think that would be a fun time.
Yeah,
I recommend it.
That's a really good idea.
It.
Awesome. That's it. Dude, you actually just sold me on it. I think Vicky. I'll try to set up a stream with Vicky. Hopefully next week, even maybe. And Cam, dude, what are you playing right now, man? Tell me about which JRPG you're playing right now, because I'm the audience for that.
Yeah. Well, so just to get to the to the good stuff. I'm currently streaming through like the Ratchet and Clank series for the first time because I never played any of them. So I currently am on Up Your Arsenal, which is really fucking good. Really fucking good. I'm trying to finish it because I didn't get a time. I normally stream like throughout the week, but my wedding is in 2 weeks, so I've been doing a lot of wedding stuff. So today I'm trying to finish Up Your Arsenal so I can start Near Replicant because that's my next stream game. But off stream I am playing through Persona 3 for the first time, and
destruction.
It's interesting because I've played 5. I played 5 Royal. I played most of 4 Golden. I unfortunately didn't get to finish it. but I played like I played like 80% of For Golden, I would say.
I mean, these games are
but I just
long as
couldn't-
fuck, dude. Like,
yeah. So the reason why I did it was because like I played it when I was in college, and so I had a Vita at the time. And I have a Vita now too, but I basically, like, because I'm in college and I'm poor, I was like, I tried to beat For Golden, and I was like, because I wanted to trade in my Vita to get the Xbox One X when it came out, because that I was just like, I need money, and like so I just which in hindsight I don't regret per se, but like it still sucked because I couldn't finish Persona 4 Golden in time as with being in college. But anyway, but Persona 3, like, I think that's cool. What's cool about each, like, 3, 4 Golden, and 5 Royal is that there's like something in each game that I particularly like more than the rest of the games. Like in 3, I really like how they do the dungeon crawling, because like all of your party members are out with you. It's not just like you, and then when you go into battle, the whole party's there. So basically, you can say, if you're getting to a point where you're grinding through a dungeon and you're like basically easing your way through each battle, you can tell your party to split up, and then they split and go their own ways, and like to find like treasures and things like that, like the stairs to the next floor. They'll be like, hey, I found the stairs. Do you want to go up to the next floor automatically? Things like that. That I really enjoy. And also, in Persona 3, the main protagonist can use any weapon. It doesn't have to. They're not assigned to a specific weapon, which is really cool. So you can kind of choose what you want to do there. Music's good. I mean, music's obviously good. I'd probably say it's my least favorite of the 3 games. That's 4 Golden I think is still my favorite soundtrack. It's really good. My main gripes right now is that, like, I'm not finding really any of the main characters that interesting. And I currently just finished the 3rd block of Tartarus. That's also something worth mentioning for those that aren't familiar with Persona, is that in Persona 3, it isn't like different dungeons that you go to. It's literally like a giant tower that you go up.
Yeah.
Which happens to be your high school at, like, during the dark hour.
It's always your high. It's almost always your high school in some form.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's the characters, no one's really grabbing me that much. There hasn't been a whole lot of character development so far, which is kind of crazy for me when I've already done 3 blocks of Tartarus. It's like I'm about to hit like 25 hours into the game. But the story itself is starting to like pique my interest, where like these characters are being introduced. I'm like, okay, what are these who are these characters, and what are they doing, and things like that. There's definitely starting to be like a level of tension for sure. So my goal is to finish Persona 3 before Shin Megami Tensei 3 comes out later next month. So that's like, I've kind of turned nocturnal over the past like few months, where I've just been playing video games overnight and then sleeping till like noon.
I remember those days.
Yeah. So I'll probably be doing a little bit of that tonight as well. But I'm enjoying it so far. Again, like, I think each Persona game, at least like from 3 to 5, have something specifically that they do that's like stronger than another title.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I think that like, I think you and I would both agree that P4G is probably one of, if not the apex of the franchise.
I would say so, yeah.
But I also feel like the dungeon design there is also some of the weakest that the franchise has to offer, because it's essentially just hallways that you're going through in P4G.
I mean, like, 3 is the same way. It's one of those things, like, I actually prefer the generated dungeons more than just like a set, like kind of like how the palaces are in Persona 5.
I love the palaces though.
Oh, I think the palaces are great, but it's just, I don't know, just sometimes like the objectives of what I'm doing in the palace, I'm just like, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to do that. Like, like the casino is like like one of the coolest palaces from an aesthetic point of view, but like what you're actually doing in the casino,
it's a pain in the ass.
It's boring.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's just kind of like one of those mixed bags. Yeah.
No, dude. So no, I'm so glad you're playing through Persona 3. You're playing on PSP, I imagine.
PS3.
PS3. Oh, you're playing on a PS3. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, because the thing is like I've wanted to play Persona 3 for like at least 2 years, and I like could have done it because it's my friend's PS3, and he lives like right down the street. I just call him up, like he doesn't really use it, but he's not willing to sell it to me because he sucks. No, but I'm telling, I told him I was like, if you sell this PS3, I don't care if we're living in different cities, I don't care where we're at in life. You sell me that PS3, it's mine. It's mine.
That's
'cause I
fucking
have more stuff.
fantastic.
I have more stuff on the PS3 than he does. Like, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, and I was just like, you know what? I think Persona 3 is going to get ported to at least PC sometime soon, like this year or next year, especially with the success of P4G on PC. Uh, but I know that I'm gonna play through Persona 3 at least twice because there's a female protagonist. So I'm like, all right, I'll play it now while I can. The one time through with to get the full experience with the male protagonist, and then just hope that the PC version or whatever port that eventually happens will basically be the best of both worlds of FES and P3P, where it's like, okay, you get to play as the female character, you get the cutscenes, which you don't get in P3P. Excuse me, you get the actual like world map and things like that where you can actually walk around and it's not like point and click more or less. And then you get the answer, which is like the epilogue uh part of the game after you beat the base game. All of that will be bundled together in like one single experience. So I'm hoping that's what it is for the PC or for the eventual port. But if not, I do have P3P on my Vita, and I'll play it that way.
That's a great version. That's a fantastic
Yeah.
version of the game. And I still
Yeah.
can't believe we don't have P4G on modern consoles, like with the exception of PC. Like that's just a crime.
Yeah.
Like
I thought for sure after they ported to PC, it would come to other systems.
That's what I
shortly
thought, too.
After,
Like
but
I would think
no.
I would think at the very least it would be like a digital only port for PlayStation specifically. Like even if it was that,
yeah.
like I would take it.
Like Atlas makes the weirdest porting decisions. Like just the
No, yeah.
imagine what Persona 5 Royal would sell like on the Switch, for example, right? Like or P4G on every modern console. Like I mean, there's money on the table and it's theirs to grab. They're just
100%.
Leaving it. I just don't get it. Those are some porting choices I just don't understand.
Yeah, I agree.
But we got some other stuff to get into tonight, and so we got a bunch of Sony stuff to talk about. And the thing that I'm most interested in regards to the Sony stuff is well, one. So, and we didn't get to touch on this last week, but they have rescinded their takedown of the PS3 and Vita storefronts. Now the PSP stuff is still going down, which honestly that makes sense. Like I mean it's
well, can also can't you like download PSP stuff to a PS3 and then transfer it?
You can,
stuff?
yeah. So that one, whatever. But the PS3 and the PS Vita stuff were pretty egregious. Like for example, like Cam, you got me thinking about PS3 now because that is the only way I have of playing one of my favorite horror games of all time, Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly. That's the only means I have of playing that game. And if I were to recommend that game to somebody, unless they have a PlayStation 3, their only other alternative is to track down a used copy, which is extremely hard to do, and then track down a PlayStation 2 and then find a television to play it on. And there were going to be so many PS Vita games, or not just PS Vita games, but like classic PlayStation games that were easily accessible in the Vita that would have been
100%.
lost to the ether. And I get that they say, well, you still could have downloaded those games had you already bought them, but what if you hadn't? Like what if you were like, you know what? I'm 21 years old. These games were before my time. I want to go back and experience them. Oh wait, there's no easy way for me to do that anymore because
my situation exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, CJ, that's exactly what CJ's. And it goes back, and this was actually on my mind while I was playing my Super NT today. I was thinking about that, and I was like, this is the first time and I say that I've played Final Fantasy VI annually since 1995, and that's true. But I have not played the Super Nintendo Kart version of this game in, I want to say like 17, 18 fucking years, like maybe 20 years. It's been, it's been emulators mostly, because the game is extreme. Like, like there's no easy way to play this game. And even now, like I wouldn't call the Super NT an easy way to play the game because they're extremely difficult to get a hold of. But
And you still need cartridges.
You
too,
still
which
need
aren't easy
cartridges.
to come by.
You still need cartridges. And I started thinking to myself, as much as I don't really need Final Fantasy VI on modern consoles anymore because I have this, what about other people who don't have this? Like, eventually the battery in that cart is going to die. And the cart will be rendered unplayable. Like, there are carts that were released during that time period for the Super Nintendo that are unplayable now because the batteries are dead. So
That's actually a good transition to another topic we wanted to touch on.
well, hold on. Okay, hold on. Those will eventually die. And when that happens, your only option is either tracking down an old Game Boy Advance cart, which are going to die eventually as well, or somehow they don't make Super Nintendo Minis anymore, so you could pay a scalper's price for that, or download the fucking ROM. And I know that that's not what the big three, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, want to hear. But look, all three of them are dead set against emulators and ROMs. And I'm not going to sit here on this podcast and advocate for that. But at the same time, like, you're not giving people, I mean, it comes to this is all coming to a point where people are not going to have a choice. They're just not going to have a choice. So guys, like, put this shit out on the storefronts and charge people for it. Let us give you our money. Like, CJ, I'm sure there are a ton of fucking games you have not experienced.
When like the only reason I was truly upset that the PlayStation, like the storefronts were closing down with all those games is because I never got to play Pac-Man World for PS1.
Yeah.
And I'm like dead broke. So I can't buy a fucking I can't waste like $5 on a fucking PS1 game yet. So when I heard that they're fucking gonna close it down, I'm like, oh shit, how can I play fucking Pac-Man? Like Pac-Man World, and I think there's some other random ones, like because I own like the first Spyro the Dragon on there. I don't need it now because I have the remakes, but it's like like Pac-Man World was the main thing. That was the only thing I wanted to play. And it's only available on you guys laugh, but it's fucking true.
No,
Like,
No,
yeah.
I'm just saying. I just think it's a silly
but that's
example,
because-
but I mean, it's a good example.
because I'm like, oh hell yeah, an obscure mascot platformer from the 90s, fuck yeah. But it's like, the fact that it's only on on the PS3 store sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah, that's what I don't get, CJ. That's what I don't get, and that's really where all this is leading for me is it costs them like I do know this. It costs them almost nothing to plop those old PlayStation 1 games on PSN. It costs them almost nothing. And they were
how much does it cost to like re-rate them via the ESRB?
Like,
The publishers have to re-rate them. They have to be relisted.
How much is that?
Yeah,
It's not
I don't know
expensive.
I don't know what all the costs are associated with
yeah,
it.
that's the thing. Yeah, so
but here's the, like make these services a living service. Like, let me carry my purchases of these older games across multiple platforms. Like, it's fucking 2021. Like, this shit like Xbox, like,
Xbox is doing it.
Xbox is fucking doing it, man. Like, they're fucking doing it. And if Xbox is doing it,
play Fusion Frenzy right now.
There is
Who wants to? I don't know. But you can fucking play that shit.
if Xbox is doing it, there is no reason Sony and PlayStation should not be doing it. There's zero fucking excuse. And I just, it's so depressing. It's just depressing to think that there are games out there right now that are already lost to time. You're just not going to be able to play them. And that is a real fucking shame. Yeah. And man, like, so I'm glad they reversed that decision, but it's also like a really stark reminder just how fragile the state of some of these older games are, right, Cam? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, if you
go ahead, man.
there's like what maybe 4 or 5 Tales games, like specifically Tales games that are stuck on the PS3 right now. There's
Yep.
Tales of Graces, there's both the Zillia games. Like
Heart
I don't know if I pronounced that
Hearts R was a
correctly.
Vita game.
Hearts
That
on
would have been
Vita.
yeah.
Hearts on Vita, yeah. That's only on Vita still.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's just it's crazy, and like you know, don't like there's oh God. There's just so many, like the PS3 specifically, I feel like has so many games, not even including just like the PS1 class, you know, again, like all those PS1 classics that you said, like Chrono Cross, fucking Vagrant Story, you know, just so many classic JRPGs that like even like I have them all, but I haven't gotten to sit down and play them yet, because I didn't grow up with a PS1. Legend of Dragoon, like, you know, Sudoku 2, they're all stuck on they'll be stuck on that system
Yep.
if those close down, and that's like insane. You think about like top 50 JRPGs of all time that would just be
You
stuck.
literally just named all of the top like those
Yeah.
are all in the top 15. Like you
Like,
literally just named them.
all the non-Nintendo ones, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically all, yeah, exactly. So it's crazy, and I'm glad that they're bringing it back, and hopefully like this will also be kind of like a message to the people like that aren't like, you know, that have those games that aren't Sony, like, you know, like Square specifically, because Square has most of those, to be like, hey, we should probably port these before Sony does say like, okay, we gave you the extra time, we are shutting this down, because you know this is just, they just delayed the inevitable. Like,
Yeah,
they're still
it's
going
going to
shut these
happen.
down at some point.
I'm
So
hoping they at least figure out, they at least get PS1, PS2 emulators working for PS5, so that those classics can be up.
There's
I know
no
PS3,
reason not to.
I know PS3 in particular is a huge technological hurdle. We're finally getting to the point where PCs can do it. I'm not sure how difficult it would be to get it on PS5.
Well, because aren't the PS5 versions of PS2 games like upscaled? Like they run at 1080p. They have trophies. They have
their PS4. They're
Yeah.
PS4 versions of PS2 games.
exactly. So I think that's probably
and
another hurdle they got to jump.
Yeah, they actually did just have a patent recently, again, for adding trophies to older titles. So hopefully maybe they're, you know, looking into some of that, because I think we were talking about this, you know, in our Discord, and I think Jeff summed it up really well. Where like it wouldn't be so much of an issue if we could still just play these like on PS5.
Yeah.
It was the fact that, you know, this stuff was just going to become inaccessible entirely. And I think that's more the issue for me, is like, you know, I get older stuff needs to not be supported, and, you know, maintaining servers is expensive.
Find a way to make legacy content.
But
Like,
yeah, like if I can just carry my purchases forward, if I can just have access to stuff that's already on the store on the modern system, perfect.
Yeah.
It like what Cam said specifically, like, you know, like Square has all this stuff. Listen, a bunch of these companies like are infamous for just, you know, hastily slapping together compilations.
Oh, God,
Nintendo got
yeah.
away with putting 3 ROMs on a cartridge.
I know,
and charging $60.
man.
And no, not only charging $60, but making you buy it before a certain fucking expiration date.
Oh,
All right,
so
you don't think
anti-consumer.
Namco could do the exact same thing and put Pac-Man World in a fucking storefront? No, I don't get it.
I just well, you guys know that Square Enix had originally said we're going to do our own subscription service for all of our classic games. They said this like a year ago, right?
I'll buy into that.
And I was like, fuck yes. And then they were like, oh wait, like literally a few months ago, oh wait, no, we're not going to do that. And it's like, God, come on, guys. Like, this isn't.
Hopefully that means they negotiated a deal with somebody else who has a subscription service.
I hope so, man, because like,
or that they're planning to port them. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
like imagine what a Final Fantasy 1 through 6 collection just makes sense. Like,
I know. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I know people complain about it, but like I sort of appreciate Nintendo's online thing where it's like, oh, here's like a subscription service for a bunch of SNES and NES games.
like at least it's something, you know, like it's not great, but
they ported Donkey Kong Country 2 onto a modern console. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, you could still play Urban Champion. Let's go.
you know, I mean,
hell yeah, you can play Nightshade. You guys want to play Nightshade?
Like,
Yeah,
I would be a lot.
We saw them port Dragon Quest 1 through 3.
Yeah.
Right, and like if you look at the prices, as someone who's like trying to like sort out their DS collection right now, 4 through 6, all of and 9, They're absurdly expensive.
Oh yeah, no,
Absurdly
dude, I went
expensive.
looking for Dragon Quest 5 on DS on eBay. Dude, you're looking at $150 for a DS copy. That easy. And
Like
So-
I was gonna say I'm almost done with my 3DS collection, and the two that I like might have to just give up and just go digitally on is Dragon Quest 7 and 8, because like on eBay right now, $400 for like a new copy, or like $250 for
The
a
fuck?
used
yeah,
for a used copy of Dragon Quest 8. Like it's insane.
I've got a copy of 7 for you though.
You do?
Yeah.
Like a physical copy?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
I'll send it to you. Send me your address. DM me your address after the show.
100%. Oh my god! Hell yeah! Let's go.
But
So
no, go ahead, Justin.
let's transition to the other topic that kind of links with this one, and then there's still like 3 or 4 other cool things to talk about. There has been identified an issue with the CMOS battery
We're gonna talk about the time bomb.
in the PS4.
Sony is not
And-
having a good week.
Actually, no. Actually, it's good news that this is coming up this week. They have finally acknowledged the issue, and they said they are looking into to fixing it, which is good because they can fix it with a firmirware update.
They can, but like the fact that this is even a headline.
So
just,
I
So
just love
basically-
like the whole thing is like so by the way, okay, so you guys can't buy any more games. Also, there's an issue that may prevent you from playing any games. All right, have fun.
yeah, it was the combination of that was really rough. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this, so there's this
that's
little
so good.
battery that just keeps time that's in basically any kind of piece of tech that you have. And usually, I mean, they last 10 to 20 years. This is not an issue that's going to affect most people. This is mainly an issue for collectors and preservationists and stuff like that. However, it was weird in the PS4 where if it died, I mean, these are replaceable. These are things that are usually replaced pretty regularly on old consoles. And then they work fine. So, but on PS4 it has to sync with an online server to reset the clock and stuff. And then if it doesn't properly sync, you can't access stuff, which is weird. And so, people were worried. It's like if these are down, and then also, again, if these servers are taken down for these checks, you'd get locked out of your digital games.
yeah, you would. Yes, you would.
On PS4. And so Sony has officially said that they've officially acknowledged the issue, and they are looking into fixing it. I don't think it's going to be a ridiculously difficult thing to fix.
What if they?
It's probably pretty simple.
What if they were like? What if they were Justin? What if they're like, oh shit, this is worse than we thought? Like,
Oh, fuck.
So we need everyone to send their PS5s to us, and
Somebody
We'll get 'em
actually
back in
tested
3
it on the
months.
Somebody actually tested it on the PS5, and the funny thing is, the PS5 can play PS4 games fine with a replaced CMOS battery, but a PS4 cannot.
I've got this mental picture of Jim Ryan doing like a video message on Twitter saying, "All right, we got good news, we got bad news. The good news is everybody with a a disc drive in their PS5, you're fine. Don't worry about it. The bad news is
The half of you.
here's the bad news. Do you guys? Is
Yeah,
there
no,
a GameStop nearby you can trade your
I
system
own
in?
like 400 like digital PS4 like games. Like,
Oh my god, can you
Yeah,
imagine?
me
the
too.
fact, like, you know what I'm saying? Any like slight thing can mess that up for me hurts.
Like
Just-
it's like, honestly, I'm pretty thankful that people found this while the PS4 is still being actively supported with firmware updates and stuff, and early on in the PS5 life cycle, so they can make sure that they fix it. Like I said, this isn't something that would affect a ton of people, but several years down the line, this could have become a huge issue. So I'm glad that Sony officially acknowledged it. I figured they'd just ignore it.
What if Sony was like,
entirely.
what if like Sony PR was like, don't worry about it, guys. This is easily fixable. And everybody who's actually working on this stuff behind the scenes is like, no, it's not. What the fuck are you talking about? Like,
Man, I want like a 2007 Sony cocky like answer, like, oh, it's easily fixable. Just buy a PS5.
get a second job, buy a
Yeah.
disc drive for your PS5. You'll get a
That's a
second
great
job.
engineering.
You'll get a second
just
job.
everything that's been happening with PlayStation recently has like made me more
It's so weird.
more worried about buying just games digitally in general, like on their platform. Because like Nintendo, like with the Switch, I already go all physical because I don't trust Nintendo where I can like I don't trust them at all. But yeah, on the PS4,
That's
and,
probably
like,
safe.
Yeah.
yeah, like Xbox, I trust them. I still get physical copies of JRPGs on Xbox because they're just, they're JRPGs and I want to make sure I have a physical copy.
There you go.
And then on PS4 is the same case. But like with the PS5, I ended up getting, I only have like Demon Souls and Miles Morales. And I got Miles Morales physical just because I got Spider-Man PS4 physical because I got the collector's edition. And I just decided on a whim, like, yeah, let's get Demon Souls. But now, with everything that's happened with Sony, I'm just like, I think I'm gonna go all physical on the PS5 until they can kind of I can gain my trust back.
So
because
fucking weird.
I just counted. I have on hand 15 physical PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games and 1 physical Switch game. I am fucking raw dogging life right now.
You are. I too
I
have
are
to live
risking it.
dangerously.
You're
I-
risking
right?
it.
No, and I mostly get review codes, so it's even worse. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm all digital on my Switch except for Ring Fit, because with a portable system, I just want to be able to have access to all my games with Switch. And just because of the pandemic, I've been all digital on PS5. Even though I do have a disc drive version of the PS5.
Yeah, me too. I only use it for movies.
Yeah, and
Maybe.
I haven't even put a disc in mine yet.
I've got like 3.5 columns of Switch games right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
so-
like, nope, I don't trust Nintendo.
Meanwhile, I paid $60 for The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening digitally. And good luck. Pray for me tonight.
I mean, great fucking game though. Great
It's a
fucking
great game.
game.
So-
I love that game.
So there is a couple brighter spots in this news. I mean, honestly, I think those are both important things for Sony to address, because I think they fit it to a lot of people that have really but like John has been really upset with how Sony's been talking about and treating a lot of its older games, and so I think
You could say that
this-
I'm upset about that with multiple companies.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but like it's been kind of brought to the forefront with PlayStation.
Yeah, it has.
And I'm hoping this was kind of a wake up call that, hey, there's more behind the scenes that they can do for it. So
Or maybe like Jim Ryan's like,
I think-
shit, maybe people do want to play older games. Holy shit.
Hey, yeah.
Wow.
So I'm hoping, we're kind of see some more stuff of that. But they also announced a couple other small little things that I think are really cool. One, they are now one of the sponsors for a major in Japanese indie hub called Asobu.
Right.
And
heard about this.
And so like that's awesome to have one of the platform holders involved in those sorts of things. It really can open up a lot of doors. It makes getting dev kits and stuff a lot easier. Technical help, stuff like that. That's really cool. And people have been wary about Sony's investment in Japanese games and indie games, and this is something just for the Japanese indie community, which I think is great. They also today announced they have a partnership with Firewatch Studios, which has a lot of veterans, particularly from Bungie, that worked on Destiny, as well as several other major multiplayer franchises, to work on a new AAA multiplayer franchise for PlayStation, which is good. We know we know Sony has single player stuff on lock at this point.
Yeah.
They have not had much success with multiplayer.
All Stars. What are you talking about, Justin?
So
They were so confident they released it for free on PS Plus. What are you talking about? No success.
after almost charging $70 for it.
Oh my god.
And then also a round of previews for Returnal came out, and they are glowing.
They are really good. Well, Housemarque does
They're
good
really,
shit.
really positive.
Housemarque makes really good fucking games.
I mean, I love Housemarque, but I wasn't sure how well this was going to go over as a roguelike. I thought the game looked cool. I expected, there to be some good previews, but I expected them to be more mixed. But they've been really positive.
All I needed to see was like people were like big Metroid vibes, and I'm like, sign me the fuck up.
Yeah,
I'm there.
So I think almost every day this week they kind of got out some kind of. I think it all just kind of comes together, where we didn't really have a great. I think this is the reason people were getting so stressed out, is we didn't really have a great concept of what Sony's long-term plan was. Like Microsoft has been laying out since even like halfway through last gen, what their plan for this generation is going to be. And they're clearly executing on it, and they're clearly keeping that in the news. Sony has been very quiet. So there was an interview with Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst where they were saying, Herman Hulst saying, I want to invest in more diverse games, and talking about this, multiplayer project. He's like, we are going to, and Jim Ryan's like, we're going to have more exclusive games in a lot of different genres for PS5 than we ever have before. Like, they're showing they're investing in indies. They're taking these criticisms of the stores getting taken down, taking preservationist concerns about the CMOS batteries seriously. Like, I think they finally realized that a lot of these complaints were starting to get big enough and starting to get deep enough in their hardcore fans that they really needed to focus on it and talk more. And I really hope we see that going forward, because I think they did a lot to show that they're at least listening and they're at least paying attention to what people are saying instead of just kind of closed off like a lot of people feared they were. So it was kind of a cool week for them. So I'm glad.
And I do want to move on to another really big piece of news that broke just a couple days ago, and that is Jeff Kaplan, after 19 years, leaving Blizzard. Now, of course, Jeff Kaplan, he is the most public face of the Overwatch team. Very well respected, very well loved individual. And he posted a letter. And he said, it was truly the honor of a lifetime to have the opportunity to create worlds and heroes for such a passionate audience. I want to express my deep appreciation to everyone at Blizzard who supported our games, our game teams, and our players. But I want to say a special thanks to the wonderful game developers that shared in the journey of creation with me. So, like I said, he was there for 19 years, right? So this is a big deal. There's no indication.
He was a VP of the company.
Yeah,
people just keep listing him as director of Overwatch, but he was one of Blizzard's VPs.
Yeah, he was high up in the company. And it's unclear what this means for Overwatch, right? Because we don't expect Overwatch 2 to launch till next year, I think, right? Because they already said that they don't expect it to be in their financials for 2021.
Yeah, they already said it's not coming this year.
Right, yeah, it's not coming this year. And this, in a weird way, do you guys remember? I can't remember his name, but the creative director of Halo, or basically the director of Halo Infinite, left the project. Oh, yeah. And this and that is after Halo Infinite was delayed, CJ, if I'm not mistaken, right?
So yeah, it was like it was already it's been a mess for like how long?
Yeah,
last year.
That game sounds like a mess right now, and I'm not saying that the same thing is happening with Overwatch, right? But whenever someone like that leaves right in the middle of the dev cycle, it always raises a big old question mark for me. The individual taking his place is Aaron Keller, and who's a founding member of the Overwatch team, and he himself is an 18-year Blizzard veteran. So it's not like this guy doesn't know what he's doing. So Overwatch 2 is probably going to be fine. I'm sure the game is fine. But this is interesting. What does this mean for Blizzard going forward right now, do we think, in the short term? Because we already know that Overwatch 2 isn't launching this year. We know that Diablo 4 isn't launching this year. If I remember correctly, and anybody on this cast or anybody in the chat who plays World of Warcraft, let me know if I'm wrong, but the last expansion didn't exactly set the world on fire for Blizzard. What do we think is happening there? Do we have any theories as to why he chose now of all times to leave?
Activision. I mean, Activision Blizzard is the same company. Yeah.
I'll be more positive. This industry isn't kind to people who are there long term. As we've seen, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, whether you're in development or in media, and there's no consistency, right? Everything's changing and a lot of things. So you never really retire when you're working in the games industry. You sort of just leave. In the last couple of years, how many prominent journalists have we seen leave their respective
many
positions?
Yeah,
after
many. There's been a lot of them,
almost decades. So I don't think this is necessarily him. Like I would be positive. I don't think it's like an issue with Activision. I think it's an issue of him just wanting to change, right? you need that next step because everything's always changing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I guess after you've been doing this for almost 20 years at the
Exactly.
same company,
It's
I
like
mean,
you need a shakeup, right? I mean, what does Blizzard do? They have like how many major They have like four big
something like that.
franchises.
Yeah.
It's like what Diablo, which is coming. And John, to your point, I think this is Diablo 2. Isn't that remake coming out this year?
I believe so. I
Oh,
believe
they
that's
have
I
coming out.
believe
something
the
in the-
beta's starting for it relatively soon.
Yeah,
No,
so
the,
it's
the
like-
beta's already started.
Again, this is me trying not to be cynical, which is amazing. But I like to think that, again, this industry, like, it wrings people dry like crazy, and when occasionally you want to change things up, you want to shake things, you want to see where you can go from here. So I think that's what it is. I don't think it has anything to do with Activision. I think he was fine regardless of what Activision's doing if he's that high up. You get what I'm saying, Justin?
Yeah.
If he was in a
okay,
position
yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. It's just I have seen not just with Blizzard, but across all of Activision, they have been losing a lot of talent in the past few years.
we don't need to talk about Activision sins against
hey,
games I like, Justin.
Bobby Kotick's still there though. Bobby Kotick's still
I mean,
there.
They basically, gutted Sledgehammer Games recently.
Vicarious Visions.
Vicarious Visions, yeah, like is just that they're now doing support for Blizzard and stuff. Like, I think just as a whole, like that entire corporate environment is rough right now for anybody working there. Blizzard especially, expectations are sky high for these games that they are working on because Overwatch it's been a couple of years now that it's been criticized for lack of updates. And pretty unchanging meta, just kind of rehashing old skins and stuff for events. There have been a lot of criticisms of Overwatch,
and that's the thing, Justin, is I actually, like, as somebody who doesn't play I mean, I don't play a lot of Overwatch, but I haven't heard anything about that game. It seems like in fucking
people still
forever.
play it.
Oh no, I'm sure
there's
people
not
play,
much,
but
like new.
that's what I mean. Yeah,
with
like
Overwatch,
there's
yeah.
really not a whole lot happening on that front. And somebody in chat said something that I want to point out. When you're the public face of a game and the game isn't working out so good, you're going to take some flack. And with the pandemic, it's got to be some break pressure. Has Overwatch, and I'll throw this at Cam, has Overwatch been taking a lot of flack? Like, like
how people are nowadays, where it's like, oh, if it's not being talked about enough, it's a dead game. Like, that's basically like that meme that's going, oh, Overwatch is a dead game.
There's a mentality, the mentality of like,
if you're not Fortnite update speed, you're dead. Yeah,
basically, if you're not Fortnite or you're not Warzone, like, you just get dead game comments on Twitter. Like, same thing with like I saw a post on Fall Guys today. It's like, no, that's not a fucking dead game. There's still a shit ton of people that play that
Among
game.
Us is a dead game.
Among Us is dead.
Among Us is a dead game. Like, I've seen that too. It's just like, but anyway, I think that I play Overwatch is like my main multiplayer game. That is like what I play with most when I decide to do something multiplayer, and I'm super excited for Overwatch 2. I think I mean, this is the transition period, right? Like, we still have new events, there's still new skins, there's still new drops when it comes to the events that happen throughout the year. But yeah, there's no more new heroes because they're working on Overwatch 2.
Right.
Like
that part makes sense to me, right? It's like, well, why would there be a shitload of new content there? The next fucking chapter launches less than a year from now, probably. I mean,
yeah, and
calm down, guys. Like,
we already know we're getting at least one new hero when Overwatch 2 drops. There's already going to be a bunch of just general mechanic changes that they said that they're playing with during BlizzCon this year, which I'm super excited about. Like, Overwatch 2 is going to be going to be a full-fledged sequel, like a proper new iteration. But then like all your stuff is supposed to be able to transfer over from the first game, like all your cosmetics and things, which is
that's
really
the way
great.
to do it. That's the way to do it.
Now just add cross progression, because please, like, if cross progression was in Overwatch, I would buy Overwatch on every single platform that it's on, like, without question.
I am very surprised that is not a reality, Cam.
Yeah,
like,
and like Kaplan said in the past, like, oh, it's not as easy as it's. I'm like, like there's fucking Call of Duty Warzone.
I mean, Destiny's
same
doing
company
I've
doing the
played
same
one.
shit as you.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
there's Fortnite. Like you guys have no excuses. You have the money. There's no excuses. So I don't know. Like I always thought that was a bullshit excuse. But
It's funny because isn't Warzone the same exact? It's made by the same company. It's
Yeah,
published
it's
by the same
Activision.
company.
Yeah.
It's Activision.
It's
Yeah,
Activision.
but like
We got
yeah.
the same infrastructure there, bro.
yeah, you got the same resources. Like anyway, but yeah, anyway. But I think his departure is just they're at a point in development now where he's comfortable with leaving and just handing the torch over to Aaron, who like I assume has been like his second in command like this entire time. Like it's kind of like like I don't think it's a 1-for-1 comparison, but like think about like Final Fantasy VII remake, right? Nomura is no longer going to be the head director. He's going to be a creative director, and Hamaguchi, if I remember correctly,
Hamaguchi.
is
Yeah.
Hamaguchi is going to be the lead director now, but Nomura is still going to be there, just not in the same. It's kind of like that, except for Kaplan's leaving. It's like, okay, I got everything started for you. Like we got everything set in motion, everything's stable. Now you have the reins. Like this is kind of like a similar comparison. This except for Jeff is like completely out of the picture now.
Well,
So
I mean,
who knows?
That's very fair. I'm glad both you and CJ brought up points you brought up because those make a lot of sense. It's just I have been looking more at like Activision as a whole, more or less so than Blizzard and specifically like the Overwatch team. And I have just seen a lot of big people responsible for a lot of their major franchises and a lot of the best entries in those franchises leaving in the past couple years. And I think at some point it's going to hit a point that they can't recover from. And I hope it's unlikely given that it's Activision, but I hope they take note and try to figure out what they need to do to keep people at
here's what I hope happens. Here's what I hope to see out of the scenario. Like Jeff Kaplan is by all accounts a great guy and a very, very talented, very, very good at what he does. Justin had mentioned Bruce Straley in chat, and I'm hoping this is not another Bruce Straley situation where you create this incredible run of games like Uncharted 2 and The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, and then he was so burned out. I can't blame him. He was so burned out that he just left the industry. He just
Okay, so that kind of goes to what I'm saying. I'm saying like,
Yeah.
you want to just
get the fuck out of here.
get the fuck out.
I'm
Go
done.
fucking meditate. You know what I'm saying? Devote your life to something better than games.
I'm just saying. No. All I'm saying is that like Jeff Kaplan is incredibly talented, and I feel like I feel like there's still more for him to do. And if he does choose to leave the industry, Godspeed. Like get some rest, man. But I hope he does stick around. I do.
Yeah. And again, it's just like I don't when it comes to like the status of Overwatch 2, I wouldn't, as someone who like again plays quite a bit of Overwatch, I wouldn't be worried. If you're in the chat, you're listening, you think that Overwatch 2 is like bound to fail now that Jeff.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
Just don't think
Come
like
on,
that.
yeah.
Like even with the Halo Infinite thing that you said earlier, which I didn't get a comment on yet, is like they said like the director did leave, but like of like maybe a month or two after, they're like, hey, this game is done. We're now polishing. Like we are going to be polishing for like 6 months. This game is going to have 0 bugs when like basically when this game comes out.
God.
So yeah, God, yeah.
It needs to have 0
this game
bugs.
is going to be like because we know that Phil Spencer would be willing to push the game back again if he had to. So
he absolutely
but regardless, like this is going to be polished, and so it's just a similar concept. I hope to see Jeff back doing something. I don't know particularly what that would be. I mean, I would love him to do like some sort of big. I would love to see him like go to like, in my opinion, like Obsidian. Obsidian would be really cool.
That would be an interesting fit. Yeah.
If he was like a lead writer or lead director for one of their new RPGs, because I like out of Western RPGs, Obsidian's my favorite. I know that like a lot of people think Bethesda, but I prefer Obsidian. So that would be really cool. Who knows? We'll see. But again, like he's a legend, and like again, like Overwatch in my opinion, like I think is objectively one of the like top 10 best games of the last generation. Like I think that it's it was phenomenal, and it is.
I mean, it's
they,
certainly
like,
got. I
worked
mean, it's
hard,
certainly
and
oozing with more character than almost any other 2 games combined.
yeah, exactly. So, uh, I think things are gonna be perfectly fine, and we should just hope Jeff for the best.
I think, yeah, that's where I'm at. And there was one more thing that we wanted to tackle tonight, and this is the news of a KOTOR Knights of the Old Republic remake. A legendary fucking game. And so this is apparently being developed by Aspyr. And they are basically a port studio. They did a bunch of recent Star Wars ports, for example. Which and so Jason Schreier had dropped this little detail when he was on the MinMax podcast. Now we'd been hearing rumors about a KOTOR remake for some time. But it's all but assured that it's coming now. But it's not being handled internally by EA or BioWare. I know he said remake, and I know a lot of other people are saying remake. I think it's a little more likely that this is a remaster rather than a full-on remake. Because Aspyr does ports, like they do almost exclusively ports, and they're great at it. It's CJ. No. CJ's chomping at the bit. Go ahead, man.
Okay, so here's my sort of theory. Similar to the Republic Commando and all the other Star Wars games that got ported, they're gonna use that original Xbox version as like the base and just port it to other consoles. That's my prediction.
Wait, say that again.
It's gonna be...
Say that again.
Oh, okay. So all the like Aspyr's been porting games, right?
Right.
But they're virtually untouched. Virtually untouched from their original.
Pretty
like
much.
a slight bump in the resolution. I think the original Xbox version will be the base that they use, or the iOS version, which I played through, which is amazing. They're gonna that'll be the sort of base that will be used to port it to Switch and PS4. It's already on Xbox, it's already on PC. I don't think they're gonna do anything like extra with that. I think that's where there's.
I tend to agree with you.
I think for KOTOR they're gonna go a little bit farther. I don't think it's gonna be a full-on remake. I doubt it's gonna be like hey, we rebuilt the game from the ground up,
they're not
all
gonna
new
do
assets.
That. They're not
anything
gonna do
like that. But like I could see it being kind of like the Mass Effect Legendary Collection, where it's like they've got some new textures in there, there's some new lighting, stuff like that.
Cam, what about you, man? Where are you at?
Yeah, I don't think it would be a full-on remake either. And the thing is, it's just like there's just different kinds of remakes nowadays, like what does that even mean when you say
Yeah, there's
remake?
like the Blue Point remake.
Yeah, there's
and
the
then
Final
there's
Fantasy VII remake,
Activision's remakes, like
Activision's remake. Yeah, exactly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's just one of those things where like I could see something like similar to like what Vicarious Visions did with Tony Hawk as a remake, but I wouldn't expect something that's like super ground up, like going to change the basis of like what that game is in any shape or form. I also need to like re-clarify that actually BioWare is my favorite RPG developer. I was thinking like fantasy more or less, and I was just like thinking Obsidian. But anyway, yeah, so BioWare. Yeah, so I think that regardless, I'm cool with either. Like honestly, I kind of would prefer a remaster because I feel like that's one of those games that would be just so hard to get right.
Well, I mean,
if
it
was
doesn't need a
proper
remake. It doesn't need a
And-
remake.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing like when people want like Blue Point to remake Metal Gear Solid. I'm like, no,
Why?
I don't want that game.
Yeah.
I don't want that game to be remade. Like that game is like I have my issues with the controls, but I think that game is like perfect the way it kind of is.
I don't want to
and
remake.
it's just, I don't know. But if it whatever it is, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be more hesitant if it is a actual remake and what that's going to look like. But if it's a remaster, shut up and take my money.
I am actually surprised that it has taken this long to get a call it, well, just a reprint, let's say, of KOTOR, because that was an extremely popular game that's been in demand for a very long time. And I have to wonder if this was finally greenlit to gauge interest in the franchise, for I don't know, maybe a KOTOR 3 or something.
Well, there were rumors that went out earlier this year that that a studio is working on KOTOR 3.
Really?
And that it's a studio that we would not expect.
Square Enix? Holy shit.
So I don't know what studio it is, but apparently the rumor is that there is a KOTOR 3 being made, and it's not going to be by BioWare or Obsidian.
Well,
John, wait, it's Square Enix. It's Square Enix, but it's gonna be a service game like Avengers.
Oh, of course it is.
There's your fucking monkey's paw. There's your
Of course
fucking
it is.
monkey's
Of course it is. Dude, don't even get me started on Avengers. That was the easiest home run in the history of video games, and they just whiffed so fucking hard on it. But so Cam, that actually does make sense, right? Like if you know that KOTOR 3 is in development, kind of like the philosophy of releasing Metroid Prime Trilogy before Metroid Prime 4 comes out, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's build you haven't seen this franchise in a while. Let's drum up some interest. Here are the older games remastered. And then you've got KOTOR 3 coming out sometime in 2022. Or 2023 probably most likely.
And speaking of Metroid Prime Trilogy, I don't remember who told me this, so I don't want any journalists listening to this podcast to quote me and say like, "Oh, Cameron Hawkins." I don't remember, but like I remember being told by someone, and I don't remember who told me this. I'm not bullshitting this. That Nintendo the Metroid Prime Trilogy Switch port is ready.
Oh, dude, it's been done for years. It's been done for years.
It's ready and they're sitting on it. So
this has never been talked about on this show.
Never,
before.
not at all.
I know that John is all about Metroid Prime. Like I know that he wants the trilogy to be ported. I just didn't know if he knew that like it legitimately.
It is.
Done and they're sitting on it.
No, John doesn't want it. He's like certain.
No, it is. No, like it's been.
He has asserted many times that it was going to be announced without a doubt.
So the thing about Metroid Prime Trilogy is
past,
that
like,
the reason we
years.
haven't seen that yet is because Metroid Prime 4 was delayed until fucking God knows when.
Whatever.
Who knows?
John's uncle works at Nintendo. That's
Who
why
knows when that fucking game is coming out? But it's.
But it wasn't John that told me. It was someone else. They're just like, I know a guy, and they said this, and I was just like, oh, I believe it. Okay.
That guy he knew was John.
No, it's real. Like it's 100%. Like that game has been done for ready to go for a couple of years now, and it's just literally. But that's the thing is like, and this isn't just a Nintendo thing. Like there are so many games that are finished and just sitting on shelves.
I hope that Fire Emblem remaster that got rumored.
I heard about that rumor.
Ends up being real.
I heard about that rumor.
I will cry.
I heard about that. There's got to be something Fire Emblem coming this year, like some kind of announcement at least. Like maybe not a game.
Radiant Dawn. That needs to be next. Like I don't want a new Fire Emblem.
Dude,
I want the Ike games ported on Switch.
I'll take Game Boy game. I'll take Game Boy Advance games ported at this point. Like just give me more Fire Emblem. But yeah, no, it's gonna be an interesting year for games. In terms of a KOTOR remake, I mean, now or remaster, I'm sure it's coming now at this point. I don't think you're going to hear, like, this is a long way off, I think. Like, I don't think this is something we're going to hear about, like, say, at E3, for example.
It'll be announced, like, during, like, a Nintendo Direct, and it'll be like, oh, coming next week. Like, something like that.
Yeah, like, and you can download it now on the eShop.
Yeah, one of those like tweet drops that Nintendo does every now and then.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Speaking
like how
of,
they announced Paper Mario last year.
That was
like,
so
by the way,
fucking
this
weird.
is coming out in like.
But here's that fucking
months.
game you wanted.
Like here's the fucking game. Yeah. Speaking of games coming out, we'll end on this. Can you guys believe it's 2 weeks until Resident Evil 8? I'm so fucking stoked. Like I
have to wait. I have to wait and see if there's spiders in it before I decide to play it.
We're about to get a bunch of games. Like Nier Replicant is tomorrow, right?
Nier
and
Replicant's
tomorrow,
and the Judgment.
The Judgment remaster.
That's right, and
yeah,
the Judgment remaster. Returnal next week. Final Fantasy VIII the week after that. Mass Effect Legendary Collection the week after that.
Don't forget. Then we got Mario Golf coming out in June.
Mario Golf, Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank. The Neo the World Ends.
Tensei 3.
Shin Megami Tensei 3 in May. Neo the World Ends with You, which I'm so fucking stoked about. Then you've got Pokemon Snap next week. New
Wait,
Pokemon
really?
Snap.
Yeah, that's next Friday, dude.
Shit, I did not know that.
Pokemon Snap is fucking next Friday. And then more games in July. You've got what else is coming out in July? There are more. Skyward Sword HD in July.
Yep. And the Joy-Cons.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I got those Joy-Cons pre-ordered.
Me too.
They're so
I'm not even a
beautiful.
big Zelda person. I was just like,
I
Fuck
need
yeah,
those.
I'm
I
getting
need
those.
Master Sword Joy-Cons. Yeah, I'm all about that.
Yeah, like I'm
Um,
waiting for Wind Waker. Wind Waker's like the only, outside of Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker's the only 3D Zelda I can play. So I'm just
I
waiting for
love
that.
Wind
hopefully.
Waker. I am sure
Oh, it's so
Twilight
good.
Princess and Wind Waker will get ported for the 35th
Yeah, dude.
anniversary of Zelda or something. Yeah, like they'll bring them over, and then you'll have 6 months to buy them, and then they'll go away forever because that's what Nintendo does. Like, yeah, it's I hate it. I hate it so
Oh
much.
yeah, 7 intergrade.
Yeah, 7 Intergrade. Yes,
yeah,
that's
7
coming out
Intergrade.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
there's a
yep,
whole
yep.
new chapter with Yuffie.
Yeah, no, like it's been
Oh,
kind of a slow start to the year for releases, but that's about to
That's about
to speed up for the
That's
next
about to
couple
change in
months.
a big
Yeah, I'm
fucking.
trying
And
to
there are
see what
more.
else is
We didn't
coming
even.
out.
Hold on a minute. We didn't even.
Oh, Mass Effect Legendary Trilogy comes out next month.
Wait, that's next week.
No, that's the
next month.
week after. It's the week after Resident Evil.
Oh shit! So that's only
Yeah,
3
May
weeks
14th,
away.
May 14th.
Oh,
And
shit,
then
dude.
also,
Cam, Monster Hunter Stories 2, July. Like,
I never played the first one. I heard it's like I just didn't. It didn't really speak to me. I was just like, oh, it's Monster Hunter about Pokemon. So I just kind of like, I don't know.
oh,
Didn't really.
how the fuck could we forget? Great Ace Attorney finally confirmed. The
Yeah.
ports finally confirmed. That's
And
gonna
a
be
physical
big.
release, which is huge.
Yeah, like that's and dude, like, did you see did you see the Switch box art? Oh, it's so
It's
fucking gorgeous, dude.
Like, did you see the Saga Frontier box art?
Yes,
The remaster?
yes, I
It's-
did.
It's gorgeous.
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
The game is
Um,
fine.
all right,
But
yeah, that's what I've heard.
but the box art is fucking
I'm
great.
still getting it. I'm like, I've never played this JRPG.
and we've
I'm
got
going to
more
play it.
Before April, aren't we supposed to be getting like a big Monster Hunter Rise expansion next week? Like they said by the end of April, we're getting more content.
I think
Like,
I don't
that's
think
the
it's
first-
an expansion, but it's like there will be new monsters and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So like,
don't
I
know
am
when, though.
surprised if that's going to be next week. I am surprised we have not heard anything about that yet.
Also on May 14th, which is kind of a niche thing, but I'm looking forward to the Famicom Detective Club games.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah,
oh
that's gonna be cool.
yeah.
Yeah, those come out on May 14th, as well as let's see, on World's End Club from the Danganronpa devs comes out at the end of May.
Oh shit.
Biomutant comes out on May 25th.
You know, I
which
totally fucking forgot that game exists.
I know, and like
I
people
totally
are like,
did.
"Oh, it's gonna be bad because they've been taking so long." But apparently, the studio said, "No, we're just not crunching. We're just taking our time with it."
See, that's how you do it.
It's
That's
Yeah,
how you
that's
do
just
it
like-
right there.
all right, all right.
You know what? If
so
you tell
that's
me
cool.
that, you can take as long as you can take as long as you want.
Yeah.
If you tell me you're not gonna fucking crack the whip on your employees, then that's great. I'll take it. And and then we got E3 coming up.
Scarlet Nexus comes out in June.
Hell yeah.
Scarlet
I'm
Nexus,
so
holy
excited
shit.
for Scarlet Nexus.
I totally. Oh shit, that's coming out in June. No shit.
Yep.
We just learned that Square Enix is going to have stuff to announce at E3. There's supposed to be apparently a big reveal coming at E3. I am assuming, Cam, that's what we'll hear more about Final Fantasy 16. Probably. And you know
100%.
what?
That game's
Cam,
coming out this year.
I think it is. Like, I still think
They
it's
say
coming.
it's coming out this year. I believe it.
I think it is too. I think that's a
Yoshi
late.
P doesn't delay shit.
Yoshi P
doesn't
does like
delay.
so people don't understand this, but for anybody listening, like Yoshi P is the director of Final Fantasy 14, and he is probably the most efficient director Square Enix has. Like he is known for efficiency and punctuality. Like
I do not think that game is coming out
I do.
this year.
I think it
I
is.
don't think it'll be. It's like super far off, like typical Square Enix things. But I can't.
2022
I
the
can't say
earliest.
this year.
I mean that
I can't blame you for thinking that
Right.
because literally they said it like in a magazine, like in an interview, like, oh, it's coming out next year, but they didn't say like any sort of window or anything like that. Just so like honestly, like if it does not come out this year, I wouldn't be surprised.
it wouldn't surprise
But
me.
knowing that Yoshi P is directly
Yeah.
involved with that game and how he works his stuff with Final Fantasy 14, granted he's not the director, but still, it's just to the point where I'm just like, I feel like they would not have said that unless they knew it was going to happen.
Also, we also like this is like so. Final Fantasy 15 was announced before it was even real. Like it was in pre-development when that game was
Yeah.
announced. This game has been in development for apparently 4 or 5 years at this point. So
Yeah.
I mean, they've been working on it for a while. So I think this is going to come sooner rather than later. Like if it like Cam said, Justin and CJ, I agree. Like if it doesn't come out in 2021, I also would not be surprised. But I don't think it's much later than like early to mid 2022 at the latest. I don't see this coming out.
Like I doubt this is gonna be a 15 situation or a 7 situation.
I agree.
Right? Like I doubt it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they
Fifteen-
can afford to have this be a 15 or a 7 situation with
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, no, I do not expect it to be like super far past like the middle of next year. I mean, honestly, with most things, I just don't feel confident saying they're definitely releasing this
Right,
year unless
yeah.
it's like a sports game or Call of Duty.
Right, I agree. You know what else I
So-
think? I think it's time for a Final Fantasy 13 trilogy collection.
You're damn right.
I think
You're
it's I
damn
think
right.
I think it's time, man. Like I'm surprised that we have not seen this yet.
It's
So many Final Fantasy
I
games I've
want it
never
so
played
bad.
that I would love to play on modern consoles.
I know,
really
yeah.
would.
CJ, there's so many Final Fantasy games I have played that I would love to play on modern consoles. So I am right there with you, man.
Super Mario RPG on that SNES online service.
I cannot believe so we'll end on this. I cannot believe that Super Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger, and Final Fantasy VI are not on the Nintendo Online server. Like that literally confuses the shit out of me. And Earthbound, considering Earthbound and Final Fantasy VI especially are on the SNES Mini, and they are not on SNES like Nintendo Online. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I think
like,
Earthbound will definitely come. I think we'll see Earthbound before any of those other
I don't know,
games.
man. Like they're scraping the bottom of the Super Nintendo barrel now, and once they start doing that, that generally means they don't have any other big releases coming. But Cam, there have been those rumors, and I'm sure you've heard them about like a big Nintendo Online service revamp coming this year.
I did not hear about this.
Yeah, there have been a lot of rumors flying around about they're gonna revamp the Nintendo Online service. I mean, I hope they do.
Huh.
We'll see.
I just want Game Boy games on there already. Like that's what I want. Like Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. That's
I
the
think
main thing.
what, do Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games all in one service. You know, like that makes sense
Mania
to
on
me.
there.
Yeah,
Put Mole Mania. That's it.
yeah, but yeah, there you go. Well, we are past our cutoff time here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. This was a great conversation. We had a lot, and we still had topics that we didn't quite get to, but this is all stuff we can cover later. Anybody got anything else before we sign off of here, before we get out of here? You know what I'm going to do as soon as we're done? I'm going to go over and turn my Super 9T on and start playing Final Fantasy VI again.
Shocking.
Because
I'm shocked.
guys,
No
guys,
way.
guys.
John, you like Final Fantasy?
I do actually, and guys, I'm so happy. Like all jokes aside, I am so happy right now. Like I'm fucking over the moon. And
Yeah, I'm joking with you, but
I
I'm
know you
glad
are,
that
dude.
you just found something fun
I know you are,
to
dude.
chill with. Like
I know you are, man. But yeah, Cam, for anybody in chat who's not following you, where can they find you on Twitter? Because they absolutely should be following you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at CamFinalMix. I post all my bad video game opinions over there, and I'm currently just doing freelance work. And I'm getting married in 2 weeks, so I'm not even
Hell
doing a lot
yeah.
of that. But I recently released the Hello Neighbor 2 preview over at IGN. You can check that
Nice.
out. And yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Dude, you're a great human being, and we always love having you on here, man. And there is one thing that I wanted to end on, because it's relevant and it happened this week. And I'll close out with this. The conviction of Derek Chauvin on all three of those counts is good, but this is not justice. This is a beginning. This is a Band-Aid on a wound that is still open. And until we see real systemic change in this country, we will have no justice. So this is something that's been long overdue. This is the bare minimum of what needs to be done. We still have a long way to go, and I know that I speak for this entire podcast when I say that we express solidarity. Yeah, we're gonna end on that because that's been on my mind quite a bit. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. And anyway, we will end it here. Remember, everybody, we go live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also find us on Twitter at official SDGC. We have a Discord. Can we get that Nightbot in the Discord? That Discord Nightbot in the chat. We have a Discord with over 300 people now. We are growing. We are incredibly kind and accepting community. We pride ourselves on diversity and inclusiveness and positivity and kindness. So if those four things are important to you, hop in that Discord, hang out with us. The Gaming Central channel especially is always incredibly active. There's always somebody there to talk to. We have all kinds of channels in there. And hey, remember, kindness costs nothing. Take it easy, everybody, and we will see you next week.